Hello, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch this video regarding the Sylvester Drive Sanitary Sewer Extension. My name is Cameron Hedges, and I am the Engineering Project Manager for the town of Tecumseh. Without further ado, let's begin. In this presentation, we will go over a number of items. First, we'll start with a background of the existing infrastructure, including the study area, followed by the policies which support the extension. Next, we'll briefly discuss the environmental assessment, or EA, which was previously completed and the recommendation included in such. Moving forward, we'll move into the cost aspects of this project, including the cost estimates and recovery methods. We'll finish with estimated assessments for each property and the next steps. So just as background, administration identified the need for road repairs of Sylvester Drive in 2014 as part of the Public Works Capital Works Plan. We recognize existing properties fronting County Road 19 or Manning Road and Sylvester Drive were serviced by private on-site septic systems. There are approximately 15 parcels serviced by private on-site septic systems. As further background, Sylvester Drive Sanitary Sewer was constructed in 1995. It was constructed from the existing pump station around the new Subaru dealership to the southerly limit of the north-south portion of Sylvester Drive. You'll see this further in a following slide, which will display the kind of boundaries of the existing sanitary sewer. One thing to note is the existing sanitary sewers and pump station were designed for the entire business park, so no pump station upgrades will be required. As background, to support this project, in 2002, the town approved a master plan for water and wastewater servicing for the settlement areas of Tecumseh, Tecumseh Hamlet, St. Clair Beach, Oldcastle Hamlet, and Maidstone Hamlet. This plan was updated in 2005, 2008, and most recently 2018, providing the framework and vision for servicing strategies needed in the future throughout the town. Back in 2004, the town and the city of Winter entered into a wastewater agreement, which identified cost-sharing arrangements for future expansion at both the Louis Romano water plant and the Little River pollution control plant. So further support and studies for this project can be found in the following. As mentioned in the last slide, the Water and Wastewater Master Plan, the Sylvester Drive Sanitary Sewer Extension Class Environmental Assessment, which was completed in 2019, or a Class EA, which we'll further discuss in the following slides. Of note is also the Development Charges Background Study, most recently updated in 2019, and the Water and Wastewater Rate Study, most recently updated in 2015. So here's an image of the study area with the red line being the current sanitary sewer, which extends along the north-south portion of Sylvester Drive. The yellow highlighted area that you see encompasses the properties which will be serviced by the extension of the Sylvester Drive sanitary sewer. So there's approximately 15 properties there. Going a little further into detail, as you're aware, this study area is located adjacent to County Road 19 and Sylvester Drive. It's partially developed with a mixed industrial business. The land use is currently governed by the Town of Tecumseh official plan and the Essex County official plan. Of note is there's no natural heritage features in the study area as identified in the Class EA. The project's unlikely to impact cultural heritage landscapes, as also confirms. And one thing to note is the study area is located in the Essex Region Source Protection Area. So there are three policies which support the extension or provisions of municipal sanitary sewers in Tecumseh. We'll discuss these briefly. The first one being the Provincial Policy Statement. The second, the County of Essex official plan, or the County OP, and the last, the Town of Tecumseh Official Plan, or the Tecumseh OP. First, we'll discuss the provincial policy statement, which provides direction on matters of provincial interest related to land use planning, development, and servicing. The PPS includes policies to ensure that coordinated, efficient, cost-effective, and environmentally sound servicing solutions are implemented at the municipal level. More specifically, one section establishes that the municipal sewage services and municipal water services are preferred form of servicing for settlement areas. As mentioned in the next slides, these business park lands are within a primary settlement area. So the County of Essex official plan, or the County OP, establishes a preference for full municipal services for all settlement areas. Further establishes in section 2.10D that public or private investment in upgrading or expanding municipal sewage services or municipal water services should be focused within the primary settlement areas. So in the County OP, these lands are designated as a primary settlement area. Moving to the Town of the Tecumseh official plan, or the Tecumseh OP, establishes in one subsection that in general, new development will be directed to settlement areas as identified on a Schedule B. Higher order forms of servicing, including full municipal water and sanitary sewer services, are the preferred form of service infrastructure and will be required for all development in the town's settlement areas. These lands are located within the Tecumseh North Settlement Area in the town's OP. Going further, subsection 8.2.2-2 further states that extension of municipal sewer and water services should take place only within lands in the settlement areas as identified on Schedule B. Such extensions shall be consistent with the town's waste and water master plan as amended, which we previously mentioned. So the Municipal Class Environmental Assessment, or the EA, Council approved the 2018 to 2022 Public Works and Environmental Services Capital Works Plan and authorized administration to proceed with the completion of this Municipal Class EA and detailed design for sanitary sewer extension in December of 2017. Council then authorized the notice of study completion for the Municipal Class EA be advertisement in accordance with the mandatory 30-day review period in July of 2019. In December of 2019, Council adopted the Municipal Class EA. I would like to note here that currently, due to prioritization of projects and funding, this project is not currently included in our Capital Works 5-year plan. So the EA established a preferred solution which consisted of all properties to be serviced by a gravity sewer system, prefabricated pump lift station located near the intersection of Sylvester Drive and County Road 19. This will be seen in the next slide. There'd be a total of 630 meters of gravity sewer main, and a total of 4 easements would be required on private properties to service the lands fronting County Road 19 or Manning Road. So this study map denotes the preferred solution in the EA, which extends along the east-west portion of Sylvester Drive on the southerly edge of the road to a lift station, which you can see almost at the corner of Sylvester and Manning Road. The sewer would then turn northerly to service 4 properties fronting Manning Road. That dotted line you see along the properties on Manning Road, that represents a 3-meter wide easement that's required in this location currently for the installation of the sewer. Next, we'll move on to the project cost recovery aspect. So we can go over the terminology and such, the different charges that you will see pop up in the following slides. So as background, the sewer main is the sewage collection system within the sanitary sewer outlet area. So that's the main pipe. So there is a main charge for this, which is the charge for the capital cost of the sewer main. So connected to this main are sewer laterals. And sewer laterals are the pipes within the municipal road allowance that connect to the sewer to each property. So in this instance, there are 15 properties, so there'd be 15 sewer laterals, each for each property, one for each property. The charge for installation of the sewer lateral is the lateral charge, which you will see in further detail. This is dependent on the type of property, which reflects what needs to be installed, the type of pipe, or if there's a manhole that needs to be installed at that type of location. Going further is the easement charge, which for this project is the charge for acquiring the necessary easements for the installation of the sewer main. So the town's cost recovery approach has been established to fund new major capital infrastructure where there is a direct benefit to property owners. There's a full cost recovery against benefiting landowners. This is similar to the municipal drain process, which you were recently involved with for the East Town Line drain. That is regulated under the Municipal Drain Act. For these types of projects, there are three typical methods such as local improvement fees, development charges, and Part 12 bylaws within the Municipal Act. We will be utilizing a Part 12 bylaw, which we'll discuss in the next slide. So the Municipal Act in Section 391 authorizes a municipality to impose fees on or charges on persons for services or activities provided or done by or on behalf of, for costs payable by it for services or activities provided or done by or on behalf of any other municipality or local board, and for the use of its property, included property under its control. So one thing to note is charges may not be added to the tax roll. The last point here, charges may be imposed on persons not receiving an immediate benefit from the services, but who will receive a benefit at some later point in time. It's important, but it will not really affect the properties as this extension for the system. The system's already in place with sufficient capacity. So this isn't a unique process for the town. Cost recovery of wastewater infrastructure where there is a derived benefit to properties has been and continues to be the policy and practice of the municipality. Past projects have included the following. In 1971, in the former town of Tecumseh, they passed a recovery bylaw for approximately 23 kilometers of sanitary sewer. Around the same time, the village of St. Clair Beach passed a recovery bylaw for 12 kilometers of sanitary sewer. Moving forward in 1974, the former town of Sandwich South passed a recovery bylaw for 12 kilometers of Sandwich sewer. And also there was in 1994, and this is directly related to the area, there was a recovery bylaw passed against the benefiting lands for approximately 291 sanitary sewers, about 800 meters of force main, and a sanitary pump station, the Sylvester Drive sanitary pump station. So more recently, the town of Tecumseh has passed a cost recovery bylaw under the Municipal Act against benefiting lands in 2011 for approximately 8 kilometers of sanitary sewers located in Old Castle. Going further on this, administration continues to work on passing a cost recovery bylaw under the Municipal Act against benefiting landowners for approximately 33 kilometers of sanitary sewer, also located within the Old Castle area. Next up is the cost components. So the cost components, the updated project costs for the sanitary main is about $750,000. Sewer laterals, which is what we mentioned for each property, that's around $126,000 with our estimated easement costs of $15,000 for a combined total of approximately $900,000. It should be noted that this is wastewater costs only. That excludes any other improvements to the road or stormwater costs, which will be covered by the town. This is also inclusive of construction, engineering, and excess soil investigation. It includes a 10% contingency, and these costs were updated in September 24th, 2021. So there are 4 assessment bases that were considered for this project. The first one was property services. So pretty standard. You would take the total costs and divide it by the number of properties, and you get a property and a dollar amount per lot. The next was based on frontage only, which would be based on combining all of the property's frontages as a total and dividing it by the total costs. So it worked out to be $850 per meter. The next one was just based on area serviced. So strictly related to the total cost divided by total area. So if you have a bigger property, you would pay for a larger sum. The last one considered would be the area service with the easement charge, which would be the same, very similar to the area serviced option mentioned above, which was simply divided the total cost by total area. But in this aspect, we would take the easement costs because they would be directly benefiting the landowners along Manning Road, and they wouldn't benefit the landowners downstream. So that would be based on taking the easement cost, dividing it by the easements needed, and then subtracting that from your total costs and using that new cost divided by the area. So below this, you'll see a comparison between 4 properties, and these are properties that are identified with the proper area, frontage, and easement. So you can see from the comparison the difference between the 4 different methods with 2 properties, property A and property D, both requiring easements. So after comparison, it was determined that the area serviced with easement charge is the preferred method. It is most equitable to all properties, most controlled to deal with excessive costs or land changes should any easement costs exceed normal values. Each property would be charged for their sewer lateral regardless of these costs. These costs are directly related to the sanitary main. Land use population densities of affected properties are equivalent to each other throughout the business park, about 35 person per hectare. So it seems pretty reasonable to go with this method. So as mentioned before, the main charge is applied to each property independent of location. So the main charge divided by the total area would be the main charge per area. You would then use that main charge per area, multiply it by the area of your property to get your main charge amount. Easement properties would receive an additional charge, and this is $247,000 per hectare. And that is just based on previous projects for about $100,000 per acre. So this is all dependent on what the easement charges would entail once they were finalized. So again, the easement charge is an estimate just based on past projects. One thing to note, and one of the reasons why we chose this method was, as mentioned before, is unfair for all properties to pay for the top end easements when they're unaffected. This is very similar to municipal drainage, where you only pay for where your water goes, not for the upstream lands. Now we'll go over a breakdown of the different charges and how they are calculated. So as mentioned before, the main charge, the charge for the capital cost of the sewer main, is the main charge divided by the total area. So as mentioned, you get based on an area of 20 acres, divided by the total cost. You get area per acre or an area per hectare, directly related just for the sewer main. Next to this is the lateral charge. So as mentioned before, the laterals are connected to the sewers and to each property. The charge of the lateral sewers are based on the current North Talbot Road lateral charges per a bylaw 2014-85 and index for 2021 costs. So there are a couple different charges that you can have in this aspect, depending on your type of business, and those are listed below. So the next charge is the easement charge, and this is a charge for acquiring the necessary easements for the installation of the sewer main. There are 4 easements required in this current proposal on 4 separate properties. Each easement is to have independent charge rate based on the cost to acquire each individual easements. As mentioned, this $100,000 per acre value is based on a previous project and will be finalized after acquisition. Using the costs we just discussed, you can break down the sanitary main charge as $90,000 per hectare, lateral charges, which in this case for all properties will be $8,400, the easement charge, which for the time being is kept as standard for every single property. So that is based on the area for the 3-meter width and your frontage. So there is variations for any property that has an easement charge. The variations are due to the area required for the easement. As stated previously, this project is not in the current 5-year capital works plan, but the next steps would be the following. We would report back to council on comments received and present final recommendations. We would present a bylaw to council for adoption. The design would be finalized and tender documents would be obtained. We would obtain the required easements from those affected properties. We would then proceed to tender and construction. Following construction, we would tabulate final costs and assessments. We would update the bylaw with the final and actual costs. Property owners would then be required to connect to the sanitary sewer. Following such, costs would be assessed to each property owner. I want to thank you for taking the time to view this slideshow. A question has been brought up to our attention about consolidating this work with the County of Essex improvement plans for Manning Road. The town will work to the best of its ability to consolidate projects with the county and other municipalities where needed. Timelines for both the county and town are ever changing, but the goal is always to consolidate infrastructure projects to ensure efficiency is maximized and costs are minimized. So with this project being outside of the 5-year plans, we will look to work with the county to make sure if there is an option to consolidate work in a reasonable approach that we do so. Should you have any questions or wish to provide comments by email, please send them to myself at chedges@tecumseh.ca. Alternatively, you may call the town hall and provide your comments on this project.